Figures of speech of the poem How to Tell Wild Animals. If ever you should go by chance to jungles in the east, the figure of speech is metonymy. The words jungle in the east represent some countries of Asia where the lion is found. Next, and if there should to you advance a large and tawny beast, the figures of speech are metonymy. The word large and tawny beast represents the lion. Anastrophe. There is an inversion in the construction of the sentence for poetic effect. Next, if he roars at you as you're dying, you'll know it is the Asian lion. The figures of speech are onomatopoeia. The word roars represents sound. Repetition. The word you is repeated. Next, or if sometime when roaming round, a noble wild beast greets you, the figures of speech are alliteration. The sound of consonant R is repeated in the words roaming and round. Oxymoron. The opposite words noble and wild have been used together to give a new meaning that the tiger is magnificent but a wild animal. Personification. The tiger is given the human quality of greeting. Next, with black stripes on a yellow ground. The figure of speech is metaphor. There is indirect comparison between the hide of a tiger and the ground. The point of comparison is to be a background. Next, just notice if he eats you. The figure of speech is irony. The meaning is exactly opposite. How can one notice if one is being eaten or killed? Next, this simple rule may help you learn the Bengal tiger to discern. The figures of speech are anastrophe. There is an inversion in the construction of the sentence for poetic effect. Internal rhyme. The rhyming words learn and discern are used in the same sentence for poetic effect. Next, if strolling forth a beast you view, whose hide with spots is peppered, the figures of speech are anastrophe. There is inversion in the construction of the sentence for poetic effect. Metaphor. There is an indirect comparison between the hide of a leopard and some dish that has been sprayed with pepper. The point of comparison is to have black dots. Next, as soon as he has leapt on you, you'll know it is the leopard. The figures of speech are repetition. The word you is repeated for poetic effect. Alliteration. The sound of the consonant H is repeated in the words he and has, and the sound of the consonant L is repeated in leapt and leopard for poetic effect. Next, 'twill do no good to roar with pain. He'll only leap and leap again. Internal rhyme. The rhyming words pain and again are used in the same sentence for poetic effect. Repetition. The word lep has been repeated for poetic effect. Litotes. A negation is used to convey the positive meaning that it would be useless to roar with pain. Onomatopoeia. The word roars represents sound. Next, if when you are walking round your yard, you meet a creature there, the figures of speech are anastrophe. There is inversion in the construction of the sentence for poetic effect. Repetition. The word you is repeated for poetic effect. Alliteration. The sound of the consonant Y is repeated in the words you, your, and yard, and the sound of W is repeated in when and walking. Next, who hugs you very, very hard? Be sure it is a bear. The figures of speech are personification. The bear is given the human quality of hugging. Repetition. The word very is repeated for poetic effect. Alliteration. The sound of the consonant H is repeated in the words hugs and hard. Next, if you have any doubts, I guess he'll give you just one more caress. The figures of speech are Personification. The bear is given the human quality of caressing. Alliteration. The sound of the consonant G is repeated in the words give and guess. Repetition. The word you is repeated for poetic effect. Internal rhyme. The words guess and caress are rhyming and have been used in the same sentence for poetic effect. Next. Though to distinguish beasts of prey, a novice might nonplus. The figures of speech are anastrophe. There is an inversion in the construction of the sentence for poetic effect. Alliteration. The sound of the consonant N is repeated in the words novice and nonplus. Next. The crocodile you always may tell from the hyena thus. The figure of speech is anastrophe. There is an inversion in the construction of the sentence for poetic effect. Next. Hyenas come with merry smiles, but if they weep, they are crocodiles. The figures of speech are personification. The hyenas are given the human quality of smiling and crocodiles of weeping. Metaphor. There is an indirect comparison between the hyenas and crocodile and the people. The point of comparison is laughing and weeping with tears. Transferred epithet. The word merry has been transferred from the hyenas to the smiles with which they are connected. Antithesis. Opposite words smiles and weep are used for poetic effect. Next. The true chameleon is small, a lizard sort of thing. The figure of speech is metaphor. There is indirect comparison between a chameleon and a lizard. The point of comparison is its creepy characteristics. Next. He hasn't any ears at all. The figures of speech are litutus. A negation is used to convey the positive meaning that a chameleon is without ears. Synecdoche. Part ears stand for the chameleon. Next. And not a single wing. The figure of speech is litutus. A negation is used to convey a positive meaning that the chameleon is without a wing. Next. If there is nothing on the tree, 'tis the chameleon you see. The figures of speech are litutus. A negation is used to convey the positive meaning that a chameleon changes colors to camouflage, hide itself so that it remains unseen. Internal rhyme. The rhyming words tree and sea are used in the same sentence for poetic effect. Repetition. The word the is repeated for poetic effect.